We live in an age where those in power are openly using every weapon at their disposal to impose their will upon the future. Where the principles of authoritarianism and individualism stand in open conflict in the streets, in the courts, in the news, in everyday life. Where the choices we make and the choices that are made for us have consequences no one can foresee. You do not stand alone. You do not fight alone. You do not suffer alone. We are united. We resist. We are here with you. As long as there is a truth that remains hidden, as long as lies are spread openly, we will continue to speak out. We will continue to question. We will continue to be the united resistance.
Damn, Skippy, that's what we always do. We fight them until we can't. And we've been doing that now for 30 episodes. 30 episodes, folks. I can't believe that we actually hit the 30 mark. Time has been flying. It's always just been, this show gets bigger, better. It's amazing, and we've had everything on so far from congressional candidates, shout out to J.R. Majeski, to interviewing Laura Logan, by the record, the longest interview she's done on any podcast, 3+ hours. My goodness. We've had everything from conservative adult film stars, which, yes, there are. We had Allura Jensen on. We've had former adult film star, and now really big voice up and coming in conservative podcasting, and that's Jasmine St. Clair, who's also become a good friend. We've had some amazing guests, and I'm really happy for the show that we put together. I think everybody that's worked on this show from the beginning, the people that have come and gone, the people that have stayed, the people that are current part of the gang that are always on here, like our buddy Free Speech Gaming, my pal up there.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? We are here at the Dirty 30, having another wonderful United Resistance. We are happy to have all of you here in the chat. Chat's already going off, too. We've had, Trina and Papa Cotton. Pinochet's helicopter tours just dropped in. I think this is going to be a really good one. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, and shout out to Trina, because she is the queen mod of the channel, and she looks out and makes sure that nobody is messing with us. And Trina's awesome. And same thing with our good friend and supporter, and also somebody that has a wrench in the channel, and that is Tina Bojan. So it's great to see you, Tina. It's also great to see, I'm assuming, Troy, that's your better half. She said, oh, I love you.
Yes.
So
Netter of Netters Network is, she's my bouncer on Friday nights.
Yeah, so that's awesome. John DeVelvis, what's going on with you? Mr. CCDB, good to see you as well. Of course, as the aforementioned Pinochet's helicopter tours, I'm the most not famous adult film star that is into politics. Nice. It's great. Hey, Office Girl is here. Formerly the Islington Girl. She's now just the Office Girl, and she's the best Office Girl there ever was. I love you. Great to see you, dear. Thank you for the support and just hanging out. Sally, I talked with Sally Dillon last night. Planet Vero, very awesome person. Um, she actually used to own a radio station at one time in her life, and we bonded over the fact of talking broadcasting. And she's a very smart cookie about what's going on in the world. I actually met her in Twitter Spaces. So Sally is really on point when it comes to stuff like this, and I'm glad that we have an engaging topic for the evening, because we are going to get into what's going on in the world, folks. And shout out Pope Metallicus, what up, dude? And Wookie, what's going on, Papa Cotton? We have the chessboard that's setting up. If there's a potential World War III, and something not a lot of people know about, and that is the BRICS coalition. We've touched on it a few times, but we're going to kind of get into a little different perspective on it, because we're going to talk about the how this stacks up, because the countries that are involved in it are very interesting. What are their motives? Are they anti-globalist? Are they just another form of authoritarianism? What exactly are they made up of? Because we already know the other side. We already know what the UN and the WWIII and all the organizations of that globalist ilk. We all know what their end goal is, and we all know what they're about by now. And more people are waking up to that every day, because you can see the policies across the world. Because you see how Australia has fallen, France and Germany have fallen, the UK has fallen. It's getting bad. But so people are waking up every day. So let me introduce the rest of the panel before we continue on. As we wanted to get, of course, a guy that was good looking, a guy that was an actor, a guy that was not afraid to speak his mind, and that's Troy Pacelli. How are you doing?
Not bad. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Well, we're hanging in there, my friend. Absolutely. It's awesome to have you on the 30th episode. Nice little milestone. It's
and
good.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Yep. Office Girl says the Canada Goose is cooked. It's about to get really rough here toward the end of the year. Yeah, I know. I feel for you guys in Canada. I really do, because Trudeau is the authoritarian of authoritarians. He's just a POS.
Takes after his dad.
Yes, he does. Janet from Another Planet, how are you, dear?
I'm great, and thank you for having me on the show tonight, Drew. Happy 30th. I always feel like just one of the guys when I get to hang out with all you guys.
Well, the thing is you become a part of the panel, every week. And, it's good to hear you speak your mind. And, it's nice. And I love having, my ladies that really think, that are liberty minded. I really like having the ladies that are liberty minded on the stream, because it just tells us that obviously a lot of us men, we're passionate about the country, we care about what's happening, what's going on, but there's so many women that are so passionate and just such a force among patriots right now, and that says a whole lot. So I'm glad when you liberty-minded gals jump on. But
it's nice
to
get a channel where we can say gals.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't buy into the pronoun nonsense. And
Amen.
You won't hear me, do that on here. I'm not. I don't play in that realm, because I think it's just fantasy, like RP at this point. And it's like, come on, these people, either they have severe mental illness or they just, they're fantasy RPing something, because, I mean, come on, they're just disassociated from reality, because it's just biological reality, plain and simple. And we do have kind of a guest of honor, and that would be a really good friend of mine. We met when I was still on the Twitch side of things, doing, Twitch. As I was cutting my teeth, becoming a content creator, and I met Vashnari, or Vashnair, however you want to pronounce his handle. But Vash is awesome. He's a good dude. He is still a Twitch streamer, and I really enjoy the fact that he and I have kept in touch. We've been friends for a few years now. God, it's been
It's been at least a few, yeah.
4 or 5 years, dude. Because I came over to YouTube in 19, and we were already, pretty fairly decent friends then. And yeah, it's been a few years, so I'm glad, and I'm glad that we've stayed in touch. And
me too.
The other good thing about Vash is he's a Marine Corps veteran, guys. We definitely thank him for his service, but Vash is not the typical Twitch streamer. He's a guy that's down to earth. He doesn't talk a lot of politics on his streams when he's gaming, but he's not afraid for it to be a fact that's out there that he's a person that cares about this country. And if people have a problem with it, oh friggin' well, and that's what's awesome about Bash. That's one of the things I love about him, because he is, thoroughly a patriot.
Hey, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah, it's true. I believe in speaking my mind. Above all else, when it comes down to any topic, I don't like to wishy-wash anything. I just I'd rather be real and just speak my mind and give my opinion on something than kind of hold it back and be kind of muffled, if you will.
Yeah. My buddy CC is giving you a hard time in the chat. He says, "Silly Marines, they get paid by the Navy."
I know. I've heard them all. My favorite cranes
Mr. CCDV.
My favorite color is red.
I'm going to unsubscribe.
No, CC's a vet as well, and he just, it's always the inter-service ribbing is alive and well amongst all of the vets.
Sure. I know. My dad was Navy.
Yeah, I showed Bash, actually. I think I showed you the picture of my dad's grave in Arlington. My dad served in 3 different branches. He served in, Army, Navy, and Marine Corps.
Wow. That is outstanding.
Yeah, he had a 30-year career in totality, because, God, he was in World War II, Korea, Vietnam. And
he just didn't like to fly, or what?
Apparently, but the thing was and I think the final thing with his career was he consulted twice, once on Grenada and once for Desert Shield. So,
wow.
It was he had an awesome career, and it's well deserved that he got buried in Arlington. And one of the things that my mom's memorial fund is about, by the way, guys, because she, when she passed, she didn't have a will or any sort of life policy. And what I'm really doing with that fund is not only trying to keep the family home and raise the finances needed to do that, but also to pay for final expenses, because once they're paid, I'll be able to have my mom interned right alongside him, because she's considered a military wife. She was an annuitant, so she gets the opportunity to be buried in Arlington once I pay for her final expenses. So, if you do want to help the channel, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can hit the ! tip command, or you can just directly donate to Mom's Memorial Fund. Unfortunately, I don't have super chats right now because YouTube pulled my monetization, folks. They decided that I had to somehow re-verify my identity, which means I have to upload my driver's license, the whole 9 yards again. And they will then review my monetization again. It's absolutely astounding. I get monetized and then I'm unmonetized. So
that one sounds like they're having a problem with verifications. I think they have a lot of bots on here.
Oh yeah, for sure. But my daddy was in the Air Force as a jungle survival instructor, and he had 5 daughters. So feel him.
Yeah, y'all are a bunch of tomboys. So
that's right.
The southern tomboy gals, which is nothing wrong with that. So obviously, we're just coming off the 4th of July, folks. We had a lot going on. Fresh in the news, we all know what happened yesterday in Highland Park.
My neck of the woods.
I've been keeping an eye.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on that situation, you guys, and we'll go around the panel and get everybody's thoughts. But there's some things that stick out about this, and it's been a consistent pattern, especially since the Buffalo shooting, Uvalde. All of these, they have in common to me a Fed connection.
Yep.
And it bothers me because, they caught it red-handed that there was a Fed handler for the Buffalo kid.
They had eyeballs on. Yeah, that's weird.
It's also, to me, interesting with the Uvalde stuff, just how badly botched that. Now, you could say it's just, because the police department just botched, period. They just botched. But why was it almost that they almost seemed to just sit there and hold back when clearly we saw on the footage, when the Uvalde footage dropped and you had the time-stamped pictures, they were standing there in position waiting. So they couldn't went in at any point. So that, to me, is a mystery. Again, you get into the latest one in Highland Park. We see on Twitter, because you can see the video, this bizarre video that this kid made and everything else. And now today it comes out that, again, the feds knew about this kid. He was, quote, on their radar. And then pictures surfaced today as well of the Highland Park shooter with an FBI ball cap on. 3 different separate photos. And then, you just have all this stuff. And the media laughably tried to paint this kid as a MAGA kid, a Trump supporter, which couldn't be further from the truth. If anything, this kid was a raging Antifa type leftist.
I've seen his posts. Yeah.
I saw a post on Twitter earlier today. It said that Chicago declared a no-fly zone within the 5-mile radius of the shooting hours before it took place, and the shooter just happened to be on a high-rise with a rifle. How convenient is that, if it's true?
I got a question about no-fly zones.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does that include drones? Does that include drones?
I don't think they include personal drones. I'm sure government drones wouldn't respect a no-fly zone in America. True. They would be allowed to go through, if anything.
Yeah. Well, my concern is that, if they all just conveniently put that up and, hey, you can't, not even drones,
I know that a lot of weird stuff has been going on with this. Like someone on Twitter, I want to say it was Shoe on Head, she put out a lot of stuff debunking a few things. So a lot of people a lot of trolls mostly have been making fake accounts under the guy's name. So there's actually there's automatically, and mostly just from trolling, not from anything particularly suspicious. There's been a lot of lies going out there. I don't like using the term disinformation or misinformation because those are commie terms. But so there's a lot of weird stuff going on out there. I think, like, personally, most likely this is just an unhinged guy. I don't know if he was particularly politically motivated outside of just making jokes and stuff like that. I think if anything, it's entirely likely he was just unhinged and he had a screw loose and he finally snapped.
Definitely 2 sandwiches short of a picnic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vash, Tina clarified, because she's also lives in Chicago.
Oh, thanks, Tina. Yeah.
She said, yes, it included personal drones during any parade in the city. So, hail to our friend Adega Outlaw has popped in. Sally's back under her regular name, which is cool. And she said Monkey Works might also know the significance of the no-fly. Yeah, his Papa Cotton brings up a good point. Maybe more people should say something when they hear people say crazy shit like this nut bar that did the shooting. Yeah, but they don't. And here is a big reason. Oh God, it's gonna sound like I'm going down a huge rabbit hole. Small time Republic, hail to you, by the way. He said, "Hail, we hear the on the radar remark a lot after these mass shootings." Absolutely. Here's the thing, and I know this sounds crazy. It does sound crazy at the beginning, but I want you guys to understand. There's been a connection between the FBI running covert ops on American citizens for decades. They've run clandestine operations on the American people for decades. It's not out of the realm of reasoning. As outlandish as some might say, and T.C. Burton just hit the nail on the head. He knows exactly where I'm going. The FBI, I feel, looks for certain markers in these shooters, like find kid that is loner, that is disassociated, doesn't is socially awkward, sort of displays the hallmarks of dissociative disorder, schizophrenia, any of the above. Then you kind of turn the dials on this with something like MK Ultra. And with the combination of indoctrination and drugs, you turn this kid loose as a walking weapon. And it's all to support the narrative to take away the larger thing, which is obviously the people's ability to bear arms.
Yeah, you want to know something I noticed that was kind of odd?
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after, I don't know how many, like the timestamp exactly, but they suspended this kid's account. And I thought that was kind of odd. And, it was especially he had an Antifa flag on his page and everything. And, it's like, why would you, I understand, obviously, this guy had a social media account. He was some crappy rapper of some sort, but
SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah, it sucked. I listened to his shit. What the hell? But yeah, I thought that was really weird.
Well, let me ask you guys this, okay? Troy, Bash,
Mm-hmm.
am I being out of line making that connection with a possible black budget program?
Not at all. That is not odd.
You didn't even scratch the surface there. You mentioned MK Ultra. You could have mentioned the Tuskegee experiments, spraying pesticides on populated areas, what they've done with radiation testing. I mean, and this is just the stuff that's declassified. This isn't tinfoil hat stuff, people. This is history books here, So if this is verifiable, what haven't they told us yet?
Well, I remember watching a documentary. It was, ironically enough, about UFOs, which, by the way, folks, if you're into unexplained phenomena, the paranormal, Sundays I do a new show called The Midnight Prism. They do that at midnight Eastern. So if you want to get your paranormal fix and talk about those subjects, feel free to tune in. But watching this documentary, Dr. Stephen Greer, I think, was speaking about it. or he had some clip in this documentary where there was a guy, it was either Dr. Greer himself or another guy, but they explained that there was so many trillions of dollars per year that go to black budget projects that, people don't even know about. The citizens do not even know about. This is just money that goes right off to various black budget projects.
Just follow the money.
There's no record of it. There's no nothing. It just, you can't find the projects that this goes to.
Yeah, follow the money if you can. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I'm not saying it's gain of function, but
yeah. Oh, and by the way, I love paranormal stuff. I listen to Coast to Coast AM a lot.
Yeah,
I love that station
me as well. One of the cool things in my career so far of Vash was I got to be on the 12th largest radio show in the country, which, by the way, is a guy that used to work on Coast to Coast, and that's John B. Wells. Awesome dude.
I think I've heard him a few times on Coast. Yeah, that's awesome.
They kicked him off of there because he was too true. He spoke the truth way too much, and that's why they kicked him off of Coast.
Damn.
I like this ranch show. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but the thing is that I got to be a guest on there, and I talked about Mike's experience covering the stuff that happened in the Capitol on a certain day in January, and also the current culture war and spiritual war and the whole 9 yards. So that was awesome, and because I got to speak to a very large audience. So that's still probably the highlight of my personal journalism and broadcasting career so far. But yeah, the thing is, when you get into the subject of where they make these kids walking weapons, it's no surprise that it's funny how they closed a lot of, maybe it's related, maybe it isn't, but they closed a large portion of the old mental health facilities that we had. So people are not going to mental health facilities. These people are just, out there in the wild. They're just, and they just throw drugs at these, at the mentally unstable or mentally ill and say, fix it with drugs, fix it with, talking to your counselor.
Yeah, it's no hands-on treatments anymore for anyone that can't afford the extra expensive care. It's just write a prescription and see you later.
If I could speak to that for a second, that was my major. I was going into psychiatry and decided against it because there's this belief that, this has always been true. Believe the science, right? Believe the science. I mean, a true, reasonable, logical person has said that all my life, right? But as I studied psychiatrics, I realized we have not progressed in this science since the Victorian era. It's just that instead of using physical canvas straitjackets, right, we're using chemical straitjackets. That's really all we're doing. And so I agree that we aren't focusing enough on that particular science, but at the same time,
that's kind of why I prefer it's little brother of psychology, because there is actually a lot of leaps and bounds that have been made in psychology over even just the past decade or so. We found out better ways, better coping mechanisms for people. I mean, just about everything comes back to CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. That's kind of the broad what you're going to see, which is come from talk therapy, what Freud started. But that's why I tend to like that, because it's trying to figure out ways to change behavior and to change habits to better somebody's life and get them to move past tragedy, deal with mental illness and all of these things, rather than just throwing a pill at them, which is always the government's, that's always their response. I mean, look at what they do with a lot of veterans who are dealing with problems. It's just throw pills at them. I knew a guy who was a former Marine who got injured in somewhere in the Middle East about 10 years ago. I'm not sure where. But yeah, he got back to the States. He was dealing with some really bad PTSD, and all they did was constantly, he had a cabinet full of pills when all he wanted was to talk to somebody who understood what he was going through and help him.
I definitely recommend the
You're
Vet
right.
Center. That's a good resource.
Yeah, one
By
of
the way,
my
I just want to
friends-
interject that. Yeah.
He's called the hotline, I don't know how many times, and then he'll text me and say, well, I spent 30 minutes on hold on the hotline, and I just needed somebody to talk to. And, you know, as Drew knows, I talk to him as much as I can, and I, you know, because I'd like to listen. And just to let you know, you have someone that will listen to you. It's important.
That's all it
And
takes sometime. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
I know, but sitting online for 30 minutes is not a good thing.
Office
Or
Girl does.
volunteers.
She does bring up a good point, and this is about the mental asylums. She said mental asylums are tricky because while they do serve a purpose, a lot of people were getting abused in there. Yeah, and they were, and that's a fair assessment.
They
Office
still
Girl,
are in nursing homes and stuff
Yeah.
too. So.
Mhm.
because that's big in nursing homes as well.
I refuse to put my grandma in a nursing home because of that. Yeah.
The same problem with mental asylums is the same problem I see with the red flag laws. We are going to do away with due process because you've been accused of having a mental illness.
There is that. Tony, aka Pinochet's helicopter tour, says Democrats close to institutions due to the negative reputation institutions had, even though you could trace Democrats supporting Buck versus Bell, which was the forced sterilization
Bell, exactly.
of the institutionalized. Yes.
Yep.
The Small Time Republic says psychologists are fast to issue strong prescriptions even before really talking to patients. Yes, that's very true as well.
Well, psychologists can't prescribe. Only
Psychiatrists.
psychiatrists.
Right.
Yeah,
Psychiatrists,
they're
yeah.
medical doctors first.
But I read an article too that said that in 2019 that police had confiscated numerous knives and a sword from this guy, this shooter,
Wow.
in 2019, and that because a family member had told everybody that he was one that said he was going to kill everyone, but no more action was taken after they took his weapons. So there's always, if you go back, you know, hindsight's 2020. There's always something that says, "Wow, this guy should never been able to get guns or whatever." But apparently, they just fall through the cracks in their own families and friends because they just think, "Oh, he's done this, said this before, he never did anything," so they just brush it, blow it off.
Did
Yeah.
he own legally, or should he have not had guns?
He somehow must have passed a background check. He apparently owned legally.
Or he got it off the street. That's what people always say.
Well, that was my question. Yeah.
Have they
laws
confirmed whether or not
stop
he
me
got
from
him?
getting a gun, but that isn't going to stop that guy criminal down the street from having a whole trunk full.
Yeah, I haven't seen. To answer your question, Vass, I haven't personally seen that in any of the articles that I've seen, so I don't know. But I'm assuming he passed a background check. You know,
I sent that to the United Resistance on Twitter.
Yeah.
That thing earlier about him getting having his weapons and knives and stuff taken from him in 2019. So I don't know. Someone would have to research. More stuff will come out, I'm sure, just like it did with the school shooting and stuff like that. But it's just sad. It's just sad that it's always after the fact that we can try to help somebody not kill people.
Well,
Brightest day, the FBI conducts the background checks.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was when he had his weapons taken away, was that at the state level or federal level? That's another question.
Federal, probably, because the FBI handles background checks. And I'm also assuming that
all of them, or just the state? I'm actually really curious about this. Does state handle that as well?
No, you just have to pass the federal.
Okay.
Yeah, there is no state background check. It's just a FBI background check.
Okay.
Well, when they confiscated, I mean, this was a few years ago, so was he under 18 at the time? I mean, we'd have to look into that.
Oh, there's a juvenile records and an adult records. True.
Yeah, and juvenile records typically get sealed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Tina says the shooter allegedly had been planning attack for weeks and dressed in women's clothing to ensure he was not recognized, police have revealed. Yeah, or he was just one of the ones that likes to dress in women's clothing. You never know these days.
True.
Mech 1164. Hail to you, Mech. It's called having powerful connections. His uncle or grandfather was deep in the Dem party in that state. That's why he was handled with kid gloves. That's interesting.
That's a good point. Thanks for that knowledge.
And then the immediate reaction is, let's take guns away from the law-abiding people instead of focusing on how does someone get a hold of illegal guns? Why aren't you going after people that shouldn't have guns, right?
Because they're always
Let's just take the guns away from the law-abiding people.
Hey, hail to our buddy Adega Outlaw. He says, don't call me nuts because I can get receipts, but cerebellar stimulation via chiropractic or micromechanical means does amazingly well with mental illness, known for 100 years. Yeah, and they
I've heard
Not
won't,
enough study on that.
and they won't let you do that, Adega, because these people, they want to, they know, and again, it goes back to what? Big Pharma. They want to throw drugs at every malady that there is. They don't want alternative treatment because you know why? That takes money out of the pockets of all the pharmaceuticals.
That's why we need to get rid of all lobbyists, period.
Mm-hmm.
No lobbyists allowed.
I think a lot of the medications also, it immediately turns people into zombies. It's just the state's way of sweeping people underneath the rug. That way they don't have to actually deal with any issues, or family members do it too, I imagine.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Sally makes a great point. She said the DA announced he was going to work to ban assault rifles, and everybody cheered. Upsetting when we need to defend our lives and property more than ever, and it is destined to get worse. Yeah, it is going to be a very rocky thing, man. And we're going to have to navigate that. We're going to have to.
The first thing I said when I heard the news was, if we had constitutional carry in Illinois, not nearly as many people would have been injured and killed that day.
Hail to our buddy Cap Stargate. What's up, man? Good to see you. Papa Cotton is right on point with this. Cures don't make money. Bottom line, exactly. John DeVelvis says the state of Illinois has some, if the strictest gun laws, but yet have one of the highest crime rates in the country. And that's exactly true. Office Girl says, don't forget about beneficial vitamins. Doctors never mention those either. No, they made it a point to not mention those, especially during COVID-19.
It's because they get paid to prescribe these meds. They get benefits from it.
Hail to our buddy Low Spec Linux Laptop. What's up? Also, hail to Chris Fisk. What's up, brother? Nice to see you. Yeah, man, we've got the chat jumping, man. People keep popping in, which is great, and we've got engaging conversation going on. Also,
it really is.
Also want to acknowledge whoever anonymously tipped for $2.50 on the Stream Element side of things. Thank you. Because as I said earlier, YouTube just scrubbed my monetization for a minute because apparently they want me to re-verify my identity, even though I already did that. But I have to do it again for whatever reason. They didn't give me a reason. Hail to the Woke Breaker. What's up? So right now I'm on tips. If you use the ! tip command, you can tip there. And also, if you want to donate, you can use my mom's Memorial Fund link, and that is GoFundMe, not GoFundMe, GiveSendGo.com/Taylor Legacy.
Hey, could you say that again? I was going to promote that on my channel.
It's I'll actually, if you click on the private chat thing there,
I see it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Actually, I'm not seeing chat. That's private chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Comments.
I'm gonna drop it in the private chat.
Okay, I'm tracking. I got it. Thank you, man.
But yes, folks, if you want to help out with that, it's GiveSendGo.com/Taylor Legacy. Oh, there you go. But what I wanted to say though is, I'm glad that we kind of touched on that topic, because I know it's ever present in people's minds with what happened in Highland Park, and I wanted to get into a little bit of it before we got into our main topic. but we're already at the close to 40-minute mark. So I want to make sure that we get on to our main topic, which is, the world chessboard and what's going on with the BRICS coalition and everything else. Yep, that was in the Dutch people brightest day. That's in the Netherlands, I believe. That's happening right now, real time. Police open fire on farmers, and this is what is bad.
Wow, where is that at? I'll have to check that out.
In the Netherlands.
Okay.
They've been reading Che Guevara.
Yeah, who knows, man? But police just started shooting up the farmers. I was like, what the hell?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're already having starting to have bare shelves and stuff, and they're
I saw that too. Yeah.
Just get rid of them so they can't farm by shooting them.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
And then people start to starve, and then just remember what happened to King Louis the 16th, right?
But that way, the
people do some amazing shit
on the government. See, it's what they want.
And this should be the example to people. This is exactly why we have a Second Amendment. This is why we have to hold on to our ability to bear arms, because my goodness, if a government goes off the rails and they just turn police or military, anything against the people, what recourse do people have? Because if you're not allowed to bear arms, if you don't have that particular right on the menu, you're screwed. I said before, but hail again, Gap Stargate. It's great to see you, buddy.
Yeah, definitely stock up on food this summer. A lot of good companies out there like Patriot Supply. 25-year shelf life. Just definitely prepare.
Yeah, I'm all stocked up.
Yeah. Hey, Vash, somebody made a great comment right when you brought that up. They want their government breadlines for Gates Foundation foods for your cockroaches and crows.
Right.
Yeah,
Pretty
and
much.
lab-grown meat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Already doing that. It's disgusting.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy, Kappa.
Yeah, the whole reason they are protesting is because the government was shutting down their farming. What the hell is that? Yeah, again, Sally, don't be surprised. This is the UN sustainable living plan. It's the Agenda 2030. That's exactly what they're trying to implement. The whole Great Reset.
You're going in and buying or taking the land from the farmers at pennies for an acre, and then putting more expensive housing and other offices and things like that on it so they can make more revenue than they're getting from the farmers. But then they're hurting the farmers' livelihoods by doing that, and they're making it harder and harder for people to get the food they need, the cattle, the beef, the milk,
Yeah.
To me, I don't know, because they're going to make them more dependent on other countries to even feed their people.
Yep.
To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's whatsoever.
Brightest Day makes a great point. I saw a post outlining that area as one of the top food exporters in the region, including to the U.S. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Which I find strange, because weren't we one of the biggest food exporters up until just a few years ago? Like, that was one of the only exports we still had. I mean, that's what our trade deal with China that Trump had done we were, I can't remember, we were getting, cheap plastic shit from them, and we were trading food.
Yeah, give us your shit plastic widgets and we'll give you food.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, because we pretty much, even the food has been offshored, and we don't produce anything anymore. And that is a huge problem. And, Russia learned this lesson very quickly. And that's why their ruble's doing real well. They said, you know what? We can sustain ourselves. So as you start putting up these embargoes against us, that's fine. You don't get anything from us. We'll just take care of ourselves. Oh, you need oil? Oh, you need something else? Yeah, okay, well, you're going to pay us in rubles.
Yeah, Forbidden Ruin says what they're not telling you is they harvest everything from dumpsters and not some sanitary source. Yeah, exactly, dude. Gap Stargate said Aspire Food Group's facility is 4 billion crickets and produce 13 million kilograms of the insect each year at what's believed to be the biggest cricket-specific processing facility in the world. And I know that Gap said the cricket facility processing of bugs is in London, Ontario. Bodega says food production is massive by where I live. Yeah. John DeVelvis says, notice how nobody talks about the supposed purchase of U.S. farmland by the Chinese government and also from Bill Gates. Yeah, that's
very true. That's a big one right there. Yeah.
You control the food, you control the people. Period.
Yeah. Honestly, what they want to do is they want to get people to move into these ultra monitored super cities eventually, and that way they can control, the flow of resources, and they want to get people out of the rural areas and less producing their own means of living, and get people to
yeah,
move
that's why they're
yeah.
from being able to grow your own vegetables,
Yep.
raise your own chickens, raise your own cows, and they'll come in and kill them and say they have a bird flu or your cows have mad cow, whatever, because they don't want us to be able to take care of ourselves. They want us all to be reliant on them for everything that we need. And when we don't need them, when we say F you, they start stomping on you, and
that's where censorship comes in. Yeah.
Yep.
And I want you to live in the pods and eat the bugs.
Sally Dillon says, how convenient is it that the CCP buys Smithfield and then shuts down the largest pork processing plant? Yep. Number one and number two farmland owners in the U.S. is Gates in China. Gates illegally bought thousands of acres of farmland along the Canadian border. That land is off limits and illegal to own. Damn.
Well, it's only illegal until the government says, pay us enough money and we'll make it legal for you.
Yeah. Mech says, so how soon to Judge Dredd?
Yeah, Demolition Guy. Demolition Man. Demolition Man. That's another good comparison.
The Minority Report. You can go down the list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
they
like
certainly
the
tried
teasers for
to.
the movies.
They certainly tried to start off some V for Vendetta back in early 2020.
Yeah. Hail to our boy, the Wake Down. What's up, brother? And also, speaking of Wake, say what up to the Woke Breaker. I saw him chilling in the chat earlier. What up, Woke? Great to see you. Man, got a lot of patriots, a lot of good people in this chat. Love it. Up to 28 real time right now. Man, that's awesome. Thank you again, folks, for the support. Hail to you, Keely Chow. Appreciate seeing you in the chat, brother. Yeah, this is seriously concerning to me, though. And we know what the globalists are doing, but getting to the main topic. The BRICS coalition. We've got Argentina and Iran that are very close to joining. They have applied to get into the BRICS. And if you don't know what the BRICS is, folks, it stands for this: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. If you couple that with Argentina, possibly, in Iran, possibly. Well, if you look at that from just the perspective of land masses, amount of citizenry, military size, potential access to resources, that is a very sizable amount of global territory.
Yeah, China invited Saudi Arabia, Kyrgyzstan, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Indonesia, Nigeria, Senegal, and Thailand too. So just think about it. If all of them are accepted into that, along with Argentina and Iran, I mean, geez, that's a half the globe if you think about it.
Well, and this is why I wanted to kind of bring it into focus. If there's a potential World War III, is it shaping up to be the BRICS coalition versus the UN countries? What exactly is the end game here? Well, we know what it is on one side. We know what it is with most of the UN countries because it's all the globalist mantra. It's all the WEF mantra. It's the, pushing the Great Reset. Well, that's fine. But there's one problem. Not every country is going to sit there and say, yeah, you can just take our identity as a nation state, the whole concept of it. We just want to be a blob in your big global government. There's a lot of countries that aren't on board with that. Sorry. Russia is fiercely nationalist. Whatever you want to say about them being former communists, they're still severely nationalist. They have a lot of pride in their country. And really and truly the same thing with China. Yeah, they're under the influence of the CCP, but China largely is still a nationalist country when it comes to their national pride and their identity. Okay, and you also look at how China is taking its military very seriously now. They're not screwing around. Meantime, we have our own Navy, and we had this 2 weeks ago, folks. And you remember when I showed you the video, the United States Navy now is requiring sailors be taught proper use of pronouns. That is now a protocol.
because that'll win us wars.
Yeah. That is now a required protocol thing that a part of training that you actually have to sit through. And it's ridiculous. But
that's almost setting us up to have like infighting within our own groups, to have infighting within platoons and squadrons and get people upset at each other so they can't work as a cohesive unit.
Yes.
Yeah. Then when they're sent out to out on the battlefield and they're afraid to turn their back on each other, how are you supposed to defend yourselves? You know what I mean? It's pathetic.
And I thought we had this taken care of in the military. I thought it was all Mr. and Sir forever, regardless of your gender.
Well, yeah, I mean, you say yes sir, yes ma'am, officer ranks, but yeah.
Yeah, Vash, the thing that I'm concerned about, and you can speak to this with your experience in the military, is that operational readiness is not being stressed. All this woke stuff is being stressed. And, in the meantime, operational readiness and elite training is being stressed by both Russia and China and many other countries in that particular coalition. What the hell are we going to do if war breaks out?
Well, yeah, and I very vividly remember, every time going outside the wire, they had in red letters, complacency kills on the HESCO barriers, on one OP I was at, and it's true. You gotta focus on the force readiness above all else. I don't agree with the current, what's going on right now.
Yeah. Office Girl brings up a good point. It's kind of summer campy. Yeah, it really is. I mean, they've turned the military right now into a summer camp. If you remember, folks, this ties back to 10, 11 months ago when there was a armed forces wide stand down. Why do you think that was? That was exactly for this reason, to root out patriots out of the military and bring all of this woke training in. And it is specifically designed, as the point was made earlier, to cause dissension, to cause chaos and confusion from within. And how are you going to have unit cohesion?
Well, I think it's all intentional, and kind of bring this back to like the broader point of the show. They're edging us closer and closer to full-on global war. I mean, us as America, we've used it as a meme for decades now. But America World Police, we've done a lot throughout the decades, really since World War II. We have done a lot to try and keep another world war from breaking out, and we've gone in and we've had a lot of counterterrorism ops. We've used a lot of spy techniques and a lot of different techniques to try and keep major actions down throughout the world. So if they can destroy our military within, that's going to make it a lot more difficult for us to actually keep certain levels of peace through strong action throughout the world, while at the same time being able to pretend to the rest of us and the population that they are still trying to do that.
Well,
Our,
what do you
our,
think this administration is going to do? Do you actually think they're not going to drag us into this war? If
Well,
They want us in there. They do.
yeah.
That's why
so
they're paying tons of money to Ukraine.
I want to address Wakedown's comment at 749 here. He says they don't want the military to be trained and ready. This is why they have BlackRock and the rest of the PMCs. Yeah, and you know, and that's the thing. You turn and look at the UN and some of the globalists, what they have going on. They have basically a private army. They have mercenaries like mad. And they have these super large mercenary organizations that literally have like platoons upon platoons of dudes, and they have like equipment, the whole 9 yards across the board. Because a lot of these countries that are involved with globalists are taking this money and funneling it into stuff like that. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those arms that got left behind on the botched pullout from Afghanistan are in the hands of not only some in the hands of the Taliban, but in the hands of the globalists and these private armies. I guarantee you that's where at least some of those weapons and equipment went. I don't think I'm wrong about that.
Well, I know a lot of the private armies have been handling during the last couple of years in the particularly in Afghanistan. Private armies or the PMCs were doing a lot of the actions during that time. That's why we were able to put out the stats that there hadn't been a single U.S. soldier killed in Afghanistan for, I think it was like 2 years before the botched pullout. Because there were PMCs doing most of the actions, and there were, I mean, it wasn't a good number, but it wasn't a ridiculous number like it was before in the earlier days of the war. But I think it was a couple hundred PMC soldiers had been killed during that time.
Yeah. Chris Fisk at 751 says Ukraine is just a money laundering stunt by the Biden crime family to redistribute American wealth into their foreign benefactors' pockets. Probably hush money. Well, that's a part of it, Chris Fisk. I totally agree with you. But I think it's money laundering on a grand scale because, you know, it's country to country money laundering. The U.S. is sending over in all these aid packages. All it is partly that, but it's also to a complete money sink because they're funneling the money out of our economy to tank it faster. That's exactly why they sent over such ridiculous gobs and amounts of cash to the Ukraine.
But didn't
they want to get it out of the economy fast?
Didn't the Obama administration do the same thing in the middle of the night with pallets and pallets and pallets of cash?
Oh, well, yeah, they did, but it wasn't the ridiculous amounts that this is, though. I mean, this is just stupid amounts of money.
And they're putting it in their own accounts. Basically.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it'll get funneled back to them. You know, because again, it's a
big payout before the November elections.
It's a large scale Ponzi scheme, basically.
And then when you look at Operation Fast and Furious, and then you look at all the weapons we're sending over to Ukraine, it's like, okay, you send weapons all over the place, and then you complain about your own citizens being armed.
Yeah. Forbidden Ruin, you're right on it, dude. Not all the weapons we quote sold to Ukraine made it to the troops. Just like $0 we sent never made it.
Well, look how well we armed the Taliban, right? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, the Mujahideen back when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. You know, there was a ton of money went to the Mujahideen.
And then we just left everything there when we pulled out of Afghanistan. So we did it all over again.
Yeah, I mean, we made the Taliban, you know, as you were saying, from the Mujahideen back in the 80s to try and fight Russia. And then we wind up fighting them again 20 years later. It's all intentional. And I think what's going on in Ukraine is they've cut out the traditional middleman of how the government officials make their money. Typically, they take public funds, put it in the hands of private companies where they own stocks in it, typically, large war manufacturing companies, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, things like that, and their stock portfolios go up. So that's how they make money on the side. Whereas I think with Ukraine, they've completely cut out the middleman, because a lot of these politicians have children who are on boards in the nationalized companies in Ukraine. And so they're funneling money to Ukraine in order to, and I'm sure it's going to nationalize companies. I'm sure there's a portion of it going there to keep things floating. So rather than having to go through the middleman of seeing how their stock portfolios do, they're taking the public funds, putting into Ukraine. It's going to their children, comes directly back to them.
Yep. Definitely.
You can't prove that though, but
Well, yeah. And
sounds like something
people,
they do.
And the people responsible walk because it's no way to trace the money.
Yep. And this time when they're doing it, we don't have to send our own, young men and women over there to die for it. We can let the Ukrainians die. And then the Polish can take in all of the asylees, so we don't have to deal with that either.
It's sick. It's really sick.
Yeah, and I think it just shows the bigger governments get, the less and less they care about the individuals that they're supposed to be overseeing. And I think that's one of the real issues with globalism, is because you get to a point in time where people are less than statistics. They're just a way for them to try and push forth more control. And I think that's what's really troubling with this whole, BRICS thing going on with, they're adding there's several countries who are trying to add in to it, that we're now going to have just competing global forces up against each other.
Well,
yeah, all run by corporations too.
And it's kind of like I said in the green room. When you have the Western countries deciding to exclude everybody else that wants to join in, those countries are going to say, you know what, that's fine, we'll start our own little club. And that's how wars start. Wars don't necessarily require pew-pews. A lot of wars are just fought financially, economically, Yeah,
there's two things that definitely raised an eyebrow with this, with the whole thing in Ukraine. Was one, when they started releasing merch. When I saw that, I was just like, what? Mm-hmm. And then two, when one second here, I lost my train of thought. But go and continue. I'm going to get that point in a little bit here. I'm writing stuff down.
Yeah, I would say the biggest. Who are the good guys here? There are no good guys, right? Because the Western powers have at least the unity of language and shared history and culture. You look at Brazil, China, Russia. You have different languages, different cultures. The only thing they have in common is, like you were saying before, they have their own personal interests. So as long as they're upfront about that, it's like, I don't know.
And they've all pretty much been screwed by the U.S. at some point.
That is a unifying factor. You're absolutely right about that.
Well,
very true.
Here's a question I had. Now, obviously, the BRICS is put together. You can see why it's put together, because these nations don't want to fall under that New World Order plan. They don't want that. But what I'm concerned about is, let's put it in the hypothetical, if war is to break out, I'm not convinced that, let's say the BRICS coalition gets the upper hand and essentially wins. I still don't think anybody wins in this world as far as globally, because you're just saying, well, we took out the New World Order assholes and people that want to use that style of authoritarian government. But what's to say that this BRICS coalition doesn't have their own designs on having an authoritarian one world government as well? And it's just two opposing ways to get there. So I'm concerned that is the end game, because I don't trust the other people as much as I don't trust the NWO idiots.
Well, you could look at it, Drew, like okay, when we were superpowers when it came to nuclear power, our nuclear weapons, right? And then Russia, the Soviet Union had nuclear weapons. Because we were both equal pretty much on that, it kept either side from really doing anything.
Mutual
So
assured destruction. Yeah.
if we look at it that way, maybe it will keep each other in check more than what they think will happen. Because I think that the UN already think that their shit don't stink and nobody's going to do anything. No one's going to ruffle our feathers because we own everything, basically. But this might put them up there and make them say, well, maybe we need to like calm down a little bit because they're getting bigger than we want.
Well,
so
yeah.
maybe it might be a good thing. I mean, I'm willing to step back and look at this and see what happens, because this could be for our benefit if we really think about it.
Well, it's a good point, and if I could interject something real quick too, back to that second point I wanted to bring up. The real scary thing I noticed is when they cut off Russia, right, and bank accounts, even everything down to even somebody's Steam account, you couldn't run some games. If you really take some time and read some of the end user license agreements. And even for something as simple as owning a video game, you don't own the video games.
Right.
It's like a lease.
You have access to them. So at any moment, they can hit the off switch, and that's a big concern for everybody. To like, let's say you have wrong things someday, like who's going to have that off switch to cancel you, basically. If
the globalists get their, if the NWO type of people get their way, Vash, that's exactly what it's going to be.
Yep.
Everything is going to be on that basic like lease system.
And I think that it's even entirely possible to kind of add to like the flip side of what Janet was saying, and kind of tied in with that it's entirely possible that something like the WEF, or what we refer to as the New World Order, or the Great Reset people, I think it's entirely possible that they're also pushing the BRICS, everything going on with BRICS, and that
Get
they might be
against each other.
they
All
might
right,
be tied
so
into
wait,
both
are you telling me this?
Playing both sides to get the New World Order
yeah.
to play. Yeah,
exactly.
Are you telling me, Stephen, that this is the begun the Clone Wars have?
Yeah, it's Klaus Schwab is Palpatine. He's playing both sides against each other.
What's that Nuremberg safe word?
Yep.
Well, that could be possible. I mean, honestly, it really could. It makes sense.
Well, the fact that we're having this conversation should be a little bit of a white pill, because we're also talking about some pretty ham-fisted, people pulling the strings here. I mean, we can see it. It's so very clear. And there are a lot of people that are having conversations like this. And we're linked in a whole lot better, even on a platform like this, where we don't have the control, than the founding fathers were sitting in pubs, on the Eastern Seaboard 200 years ago.
That's right. That is so true. So true.
We live in the pod, eat the bugs. That's what it's looking like.
Forbidden Ruin says, Mystery of Truth. Nina and Taylor Lorenz will have the power to punish anyone online. Oh, Jesus Christ. I hate Taylor Lorenz. I really do. I mean, that's like the prime example of how not to be a journalist. It's hard to feel like we're not watching two giant dinosaurs fight, says Trinoculus P. Yeah.
Well, we are.
Perfect analogy.
And Wake Down says global politics is prone to the same deceptions as at the country level. National leaders are as much in charge as senators and governors. A council of 13 satanic worshiping families runs things. Yeah. Listen, that is hardly disputed anymore, because look, it's written literally in stone. Go to Georgia, look at the Georgia Guidestones. It tells you exactly what the plan is. They want you to know the plan. That is
Guidestones are gone now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that is how much basically sheer fucking hubris these people have.
Well, they're coming out in the bright of day. It's just like no different than somebody robbing a car in daylight.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sick.
Oh yeah, they tell us the plan. That's kind of the worst part, and I think it's both the worst and the best part is that they tell us their plan. They tell us exactly what they're going to do and how horrible it's going to be, but they say it in a very nice way. And there's enough people out there who just blindly trust the government to just go along with it, and they're like, "Oh, it'll be fine. It's that this is the government we're talking about. How could they want to harm us?" But at the same time, it lets people like us and people like those in our audience and in our chat and in the same groups as us who we hear about it and we can see through the bullshit. And we talk about it, and us talking about it here and having this conversation, like you were saying, Troy, it's we're having this conversation that'll let, and since we have this platform and we're able to have an audience listen to us constantly, they'll hear about it, they'll talk to their friends and family about it, and the more and more they tell us the bullshit that they're trying to pull, the more people will know, and the more it turns people's stomach. And it might not happen every day, but bit by bit, and eventually they're going to step too far and people are just going to say no. And most countries, they're screwed. In America, we have, certain protections. We have Second Amendment. We're allowed to defend ourselves.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got fireworks popping off the back. I'll mute the mic.
Well, Wakedown made a point earlier, and I was going to ask you about this, Bash. He said that he kind of thinks this sort of the BRICS part of it came out of China's Silk Road initiative.
The Silk Road. I think I'm not really too familiar with that. Can you elaborate?
The Silk Road was kind of like
I've heard of it before.
Yeah, it's a road system between countries that allows, also, there was agreements to share resources along with that as well.
Okay, now I'm tracking.
It's a big grand plan that China's had for a long time.
I think they were talking about this on Coast to Coast AM once.
Yeah. God, maybe we should all just do a pile of coke, guys, and forget about this.
Spending $150 million on cocaine would make sense.
Oh, I thought that was an ad for a second. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
But I still get a kick out of that video. You'll own nothing and be happy. And they got that guy just smiling. Like,
yeah.
It's like, what?
I mean, yeah, that is funny. But, what do I look like? A Biden? I can't afford Coke.
Yeah. Wakedown says the Silk Road Initiative was China's attempt to industrialize and share resources throughout Southwest Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've been wasting their own resources, deforesting. Last time I heard the stat, and this was quite a few years ago, they're deforesting something like 2,000 miles of woodlands each year. And
Troy, you asked, and you shall receive, by the way.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives.
This guy.
Fun fact, a lot of people don't know, he shit himself right when he yelled there. It's
Probably.
Well, he's going to mobilize troops under pressure.
You can describe this country in one word.
Darius Munchausen says, cocaine!
Support my Depends fundraiser. You know the thing.
Hookers and blow, man. Hookers and blow.
That's what Brazil and Russia are doing right now. That we're gonna have our own globalist nation, and it's gonna have hookers and blow and be awesome.
The way you've got to spin this, and you just got to keep saying it when people point out how deranged he is and how he doesn't even know where he is or what he's saying. I know he's got people coaching him on what to say and where to sit and when to stand. Just point out, hey, just remember, this is what you get. You're not getting mean tweets, though, so you should be happy. And when you see the empty aisles, you're not getting mean tweets. Look at what you're paying at the gas pump, but you're not getting mean tweets.
I kind of feel bad for him. I mean, it's elder abuse, really.
Yeah,
his wife. It's sad.
No, I don't, because I know who this man is going back to the 70s.
Oh yeah.
He's earned where he's at right now. For good and ill.
Yeah. Well, the bad part is that he doesn't even know where he's at. So he's not gonna.
It's just sad.
It's weekend at Biden's.
I'd say it's sad for us.
Yeah, well, it is
more so for us.
Yeah, and he's
not suffering because he doesn't know it.
Well, we're being pushed into a corner right now where at least from the perspective of our country, you know, I was talking with Sally a little bit in that space last night when, you know, I was up late and we were in a Twitter space together, you know, and Sally asked me the question, what do you think about a convention of states? Well, we're headed there because I think that, you know, if things don't improve, a lot of people are going to sign on to that idea. And that's going to be probably the last ditch effort to gain some order in our country, because if it doesn't, what we're going to get down to is essentially a situation where it's going to be the second American Revolution. And I don't think that I'm exaggerating on that, because a lot of people already feel that way. They're ready to go. A lot of people are already feel like it's go time.
I agree with you, Drew, but you know, this is one of those be careful what you wish for. I've heard a lot.
Oh, I don't wish for it. I don't want to see violence, period.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Convention of States. The reason I say that is because we assume you open up the Constitution to change, and it's going to be the change you want. That's also an opportunity for the globalists to say, yeah, let's get rid of that Second Amendment, and let's get rid of this, and let's get rid of First Amendment. You don't need religion. You don't need to talk on the internet. That's not a right that you have.
Right.
So let's be real careful when we start, changing that. Right now, our Constitution is proving itself to be working as designed. The last couple of weeks have been great evidence of that. And as I see more idiots, useful idiots, I suppose, reeing about the decisions that have come out over the past couple of weeks, I realize how important the separation of powers are and the exact wording of the Constitution, and why it's difficult to change. You can't just legislate away the Second Amendment by a simple majority of the executive branch. You can't.
Or exactly. Well, it's the same way that they're trying, you know, that the executive branch is essentially is trying to, or just that congressional committee, you know, the J6 committee, you take that, for example, it's a farce because they're trying to sit there and literally use power that they don't have to not only subpoena people, but go and, lock people away. I mean, it's ridiculous. I never thought I'd get to the point where we would see political prisoners in America.
Yep.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is nuts to me.
You know, and if you can go back and listen, folks, the stream where I was there on that certain day in January, I'm not going to say it out loud because YouTube watches for those terms and listens for those terms, but the stream is in there, you know, and it says live from like the Patriot March or something like that. But anyway, if you watch it, and I apologize for the crap quality of it because, you know, we've talked about it before. When you get down into DC proper, they actually employ techniques. It's military technology because Bash, I'm sure you guys used it, the cell phone and signal jamming. They have active jamming going on when you get into DC proper.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the chameleon device. We had those on our Humvees as a countermeasure for remote IEDs.
Yeah, so they have active jamming going on. So the stream, the quality isn't great on it, but what I can tell you folks is if you pay attention to the footage, that tells you all you need to know about that crowd. It shatters the narrative completely that the mainstream media was trying to spin. So again, there is no reason we should have political prisoners, especially based on what happened then. But I kind of went off on a tangent to get back on, stay laser focused on the topic. It's just, we need to understand that on the chessboard, when you look at both the BRICS and you look at the UN countries, I don't know that one is more desirable than the other, is all I'm saying. Because in the end, if war breaks out, we all lose. We all lose.
I mean, neither is really desirable. There's no desirable global government that we can have that would work well, and it's an unfortunate situation that even created the global governments that we've been seeing that have popped up, over the last 80 years, namely, UN and EU. And like the UN being formed and NATO specifically being formed to fight communism, that we saw that growing across the world. And it was this, crazy ideology that managed to take over and, complete authoritarian control over huge portions of the globe. And so out of the fear of that growing more and more and trying to destroy what we love as our Western civilization and our Western culture, we sort of got in bed with the devil that we know. And so we now have, we started globalism there, and it's only, it only makes sense that after a certain amount of time, we no longer have the coalition of the communist governments like we used to, where namely it was, Cuba and Russia and a couple other smaller communist nations here and there. They're no longer connected like they used to be. So we're going to have an alternative pop up for that. So that's where we're seeing BRICS, which I guess they're going to change the name to Brixia or Brickias or Briax or something. I don't know.
Brick brack. No, I was kidding.
Brick brack. Yeah.
But I just think we're heading down shit creek without a paddle right now. Honestly.
Well, I think what it really boils down to is, down to a community level. Your neighbors. Keeping people in your local communities prepared. Sharing resources, because eventually it's going to get to a point where it's going to be your buddy on your left and right. 100%. I believe that.
Yeah. I think that Sally made a good point here. Limit changes to term limits and reestablishing states' rights. It's things are going to get super interesting here very quickly. I mean, because we're in one cycle now, but I really think there's going to be a quickening and there's going to be a ramping up of just hostilities, because you've got this maelstrom of negative energy that's going to pop eventually.
Yep, and you got a lot of people that are sucking the tit, whatever they put out. I mean, that sounds bad, but I've seen so many tweets right now saying how this shooter was a left winger, or not left winger, but a Trump supporter, and he was at Trump rallies. And
well, that's the narrative they're trying to push, but he was anti.
Well, I know, but it doesn't matter whether it's fake or not when you have hundreds of thousands of young people thinking it's true and ready
hundreds
to
of
go to war
thousands
for it.
of slack-jawed morons buying.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
These are kids living off their parents. But did any of you see the TV show V?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I'm a huge fan. I got some videos up about it.
You saw all these young people in there that loved the lizard people that were turning in their families.
Oh,
well, you know what that was inspired by?
Brown shirts and training, really.
So I'm just saying, we're going to see some really dirty shit happening when the government starts saying, turn in your family or turn in your friends and turn in the weapons and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to do it. Because
same thing happened in Germany, 1930, late 1930s.
It's going to happen, and that's what's scary. That's the scariest thing to me is when you're inside your own circle, you're being stabbed in the back by somebody that you took care of for years. That's a scary thought.
I know we're dropping like heavy stuff right now, but I wanted to share this to kind of give us a moment of levity because, I shared this on my Twitter before, but it's just, it's really funny. It's sad because it's actually coming true, but this is funny. So I'm going to go ahead and share this clip right here. This is hilarious. This is a takeoff of the of the woke pronoun stuff. It gets better.
I still haven't seen the second movie. I can't wait.
Gentlemen, assuming you are gentlemen, you're not here because you're the best. You're here because of your gender identity and preferred pronouns. You might think you're woke. We'll make you more so. I want you to look at the man, woman, or non-binary person next to you. You will come to know his, her, or their pronouns, and he, she, they will come to know you, yours. Well, you get the point. Now, I want you to look at this flag. You may have seen it before. Hell, you might even know what some of the colors mean. At bottom gun, you'll learn them all. Be under no illusion, gentlemen, we are on the front line of a culture war. You see your color on that flag, pilot?
Yes, sir.
And they tell me you're a bisexual. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
I like that in a pilot.
So you know, I mean, we laugh at this, guys, but you know, the sad thing is, I mean, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. It's bad. We are already there. It's
Yep.
terrible.
Identity is more important than merit, and I mean that's the first breakdown of society as a whole. Is we're seeing that people no longer care about what you're able to do, what you can bring to the table, how you can help out other people, and be
Your character. They don't care about character anymore.
as important as what you say. Actions no longer speak louder than words.
I'm pretty sure pros and cons will be, this will be thrown into the equation for pros and cons, and it's going to force, military members to, adhere to this doctrine or not get promoted.
That's right. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's sad. But my pronouns are on my Twitter, and it's me, myself, and I.
Yeah. Time Prophet said, "This isn't comedy anymore. It's real." Yeah, it's true, man.
Oh my God. Scary.
But look, when we do a show like this, it's important because, again, the what I like to do with the United Resistance when we do this program is have a good group discussion on important things that people don't know. And if we can bring good information to people or just start a conversation or get some good free thought rolling and get people like bam in front of things doing research, it just, that is what changes things, because that's where the spark of change begins. And that is precisely why I do my channel the way I do it, why I'm willing to hang my balls over the fence and go for it. And I'm not going to change that.
Well, it's important to get people to think, for themselves.
I don't care what YouTube tries to do to me. I don't care, what, who attacks me. I don't care what Fed watch list I'm on, because I'm sure I'm on one by now, either because I was at a certain place or because of the stuff I say, or both.
You're on the radar.
Oh yeah, I'm on the radar. but the thing is, look, I'm not going to change what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm passionate about that, and I'm glad that we're having conversations like this. It's so important. I guarantee you, I would probably, if I did a stream like this on Twitch or did a political show on Twitch, I would drive people crazy because I know what they think of conservatives on Twitch.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. You guys ever heard of Terrence Popp?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, Terrence Popp. He actually he does multiple broadcasts like over several platforms, and he streams on Twitch, and he hasn't been banned yet. So,
Oh.
And he usually averages like 50+ viewers every stream. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, from what I've seen on Twitch, they aren't too bad about going after any particular ideology with the rules or anything like that. But what they do that pisses everyone off is they have the unequal enforcement of the rules, and most of it has more to do with sexuality. And
Well,
stuff
yeah,
like
dude,
that.
that's been a thing. That's been a thing for years. God, Bash and
Yeah.
I could both tell you stories about like, oh,
ASMR
the
sucking on
girls,
the mic.
Yeah.
the girls that want to go to TwitchCon, the girls that are Twitch darlings. Yeah, they never get,
Marketing meat.
they never get anything but a slap on the wrist. My God, when I used to stream heavily on Twitch, I remember Amaranth would get like a 2-day ban if she got anything. What was the other chick? Alinity would get like a week ban. I mean, it was so stupid.
Yeah, and then the publicity gets them even more viewers.
Yeah.
Then they just keep growing more and more, and it's just.
It was crazy on Twitch.
Well,
yeah, Amaranth straight up showed her
go on your
coos.
show and I'll get banned and bring you some more people. Drew, I'll do that for you.
Well, I don't know.
Hey.
Are you gonna go and are you gonna go and just like show some naughty bit you're not supposed to? That'll get me banned.
Hot tub stream with a nip slip.
Tearaway bra.
Yeah, it'll be like the halftime show. It's totally accidental.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we had a good hearty conversation about this. I'm glad we got into it. It was a hell of a topic, and this is something that we'll continue to keep an eye on, folks, because it's not going away. This is the real news. This is not what the mainstream media is going to cover. This is not what they're going to tell you about. Even the people that say, "Oh, we're giving you world news." No, they are not. They're giving you filtered garbage. If you want to find out about topics that are really relevant and what is going on under the surface, what you need to do is watch YouTubers, watch Twitch streamers, watch independent journalists, and read and share their content, because that will get you the information that you seek. And hail Jackie Blue, it's great to see you. John DeBelvis, thank you so much for the compliment, by the way, John. Hey, Drew, I didn't know about this show until Allura Jensen told me about it. Now I look forward to this show every week. And thank you so much, John. And this is why it's so rewarding to do this, because, it's things that are said like that just really gives you a shot in the arm, because, hey, this is not easy to do. When you have creators like myself or Wes Moody, things like that, where, in Wes's case, they nuked his entire channel. Or Brightest Day, they nuked his entire channel. We need people that are willing to continue to do this type of content and not have fear. And that's what I'm glad that I'm doing it. It is really rewarding. And when somebody like you, John, makes a comment like that, that is awesome. That absolutely makes my night and makes my week, man. Thank you again, folks, so much for participating. You guys are a huge part of the show. The chat makes this show just as much as any of us on the panel. The chat, you guys are on fire every single week.
I had to mute the mic. I was laughing so hard at some of these comments.
Yeah. I mean, because the chat's awesome, and you guys are smart. You guys are paying attention to the stuff, the layers underneath. And that's good, because when you don't get duped by the mainstream media in all the division tactics that they're trying to use on you and all the psychological BS, and you can stay above that and hold on to your free thinking, that's the most important thing you can do. And chat, you guys are all stars every single week. I'm so glad to have you as part of the show. And I want to go around. I'm going to let everybody kind of do their outro, tell you guys where they can be found. And I want to thank all of our panelists tonight. Thank you to Troy. Thank you to Janet. Thank you to Stephen. And thank you to Vash. And
hey, thanks for having me, man. Seriously, this is it's been great. If you guys would have me again, I'd be more than happy to set aside some time and hop on the show again.
Yeah, absolutely. And that said, Vash, go ahead and tell people where they can find you.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Vashner. I'm usually live Wednesday through Friday, sometimes Sunday, but I usually take like 3 days off a week. But yeah, I usually just play games like Escape from Tarkov, DayZ, you name it. I love first-person shooters, survivals, flight sims,
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
And sci-fi stuff. You play a lot of cool sci-fi games too.
Oh yeah, I'll throw in a single-player game here and there and go through the story.
Yeah. So, the last time Vash was streaming, he was what were you playing? The
Escape from Tarkov.
No, it was the other survival game you were playing. Was that Dying Light or?
Well, there was Dying Light. Actually, I was talking with you when I was playing Dying Light 2. I was going
Dying Light 2.
Yeah. Fun game. I love that series.
And we'll go over to Mr. Troy Pacelli.
So if I do nothing else, every Friday night, 9 Central here in the States, I do a Friday night last call. Netter of Netter's Network likes to call it my drunk stream. It's just
hey,
a
cheers,
chat.
buddy.
Yeah, right. We just we sit, we chat, we have some drinks. This Friday, I'm scheduled to have Fat Steven Seagal on as my guest behind the bar, my guest bartender. Going to interview him, talk with him a little bit, build him up a little bit, and but I throughout the week will randomly drop other things. I just did a hot take on the Minions film. I like to do a lot of toy videos because I'm kind of real into Star Wars toys and whatnot. I'm also working on some custom toys.
That's awesome. I love Star Wars.
And I think I'm going to start getting a little bit more political too. So
yeah. Well, you're welcome back as well anytime, Mr. Troy Patel.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And it was
Empire
awesome.
did nothing wrong.
Yeah, it was awesome to have you, man. Troy, I knew you were gonna bring some good takes and some strong stuff to the table, and you did not disappoint, my friend. We will go to the lady of the evening that balances us out, and that is Janet from Another Planet.
Well, thank you very much, Drew, for having me on the show again. I really love it. It gives me a chance to share my thoughts on the world we live in. But my channel is I just do shorts right now. I'm thinking about maybe doing some live streams, maybe reading my book that I have on online. But I also have a TikTok and Instagram, and I make little short videos as a fake therapist type thing, and I try to make people laugh or smile. I do little inspirational videos, and you can stop by and see me on Monday night on Bruce of Dick's Division's channel, Bruce Lombardi's channel, because we do a movie review night, and then I'm here on Tuesday night with Drew and the rest of the panel. So if you want to check me out, come check me out. I'd enjoy it. Thanks.
And finally, the producer extraordinaire, Mr. Free Speech Gaming, aka Steve.
Yeah, I want to make sure I get these follows out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Get the follows out there. Check out chat. Follow everybody who's in here. Just want to say this has been another excellent week. We got a little bit deep with our conversations here. We sometimes get a little bit goofy, not as goofy.
As the kids say, Stephen, number 30 was a banger.
Yeah, you know what? 30s have been awesome. I've been in my 30s for about a year now, and I was like, oh no, my 20s were so great. The 30s are going to suck. No, you know what? 30s are awesome. Don't let the lies fool you on that. But just wanted to say thank you to the chat. You guys are really like the most important, like Drew was saying earlier, you guys are the most important part of this show and what we do. And you guys were once again just throwing out some fire for us. I mean, it's wonderful coming here every week and getting to talk with Drew and Janet. And usually we have, Will and ETEP and a couple other people coming in. We had some wonderful guests today with Mr. Troy Pacelli, not sure how to pronounce that one. And with Vashner. So we had some wonderful guests, and we had some great conversation, but we really have to bounce off of you as the chat, and you guys always bring it up for us. So that's excellent. Just wanted to thank you. You can find me. I should be putting out videos regularly on my YouTube channel, but I don't. But you can find me here every Tuesday, of course. Mondays at 9 o'clock Eastern. I'm over on Shellback TJC's channel for the Yelling at Parked Cars warm-up show. Last night had a good conversation about the Second Amendment and guns and all of that for 4th of July with Snow Dub and Immortal Coil. So it's a great show over there. I'd love to get some more of you guys in the chat over there because, I see some of you in here that are regulars there too. I think you guys would be an excellent addition to that show as well. So just had a wonderful day. Hope everyone else does too. Got a cat saying goodbye real quick.
No, there we go. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, adorable cat.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And listen, I before we sign off here, folks, I just want to say thank you to those that over the weekend, you guys know that I'm in a very, very bad situation at the moment. It got pretty critical. I got down to barely any food, and I want to thank the people that actually reached out and sent enough for me to get a little bit of food this weekend. Thank you so much.
I saw that tweet, man. I'm glad. Yeah.
The situation hasn't changed, folks. Listen, I'm in probably the family account that my mom's fund is attached to. We're currently like $432 overdraft on that, and I got all the bills that are due from last month, and I've got the ones coming in now from this month, and I'm doing my best to try to keep my head above water. So again, anything that you can throw either at my mom's memorial fund or even just share that Give Send Go link, or if you can PayPal something over, that's great. And even if you can't, that's fine too, because you guys get the word out and everybody's so helpful, and I'm thankful for it. So it's much appreciated. So thank you.
Oh, good. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much, everyone, and we will be back next week for sure.
Yeah, never expected, always appreciated. It's one saying when it comes to donations, man.
No, absolutely.
And, yeah, dude, I'm gonna send you a few bucks on that too. By the way, man, thank you for having me on the show.
All right,
and you were awesome.
Yeah, and folks, take care of yourselves, and we will see you for sure next week, because I know that we're gonna have another good topic, and remember, don't be too hard on Uncle Joe.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives.
Yeah,
You know,
one guy in the last week was like, "Yeah."
right.
Well, he is changing lives. I'll say that.
All right.
What kind of Kool-Aid is that guy drinking? Yeah.
Take care, folks. Have a great night. We will see you again next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, hi, Coast Casino.
Hey, welcome to Sparking News Podcast. My name is Scott.
I'm E. Temple Queen of the Place to Be Reviews.
I am the Patriot, True Sailor, aka Supreme Heretic.
The Red Gaze on YouTube, at the Red Gaze on Twitter.
What up?
Hello, everybody. It's me, Vinny.
The voice of Immortal Coil.
Oh, hey, I am the Ghost Bear.
What's going on, Tommy? And you get anybody to like this?
Yeah, I'm Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast.
Tone Death, rockin'.
Hey, we have a lot of cool things over there. I did some magic tricks.
Hi, guys. Try to stay here.
My name is Monkey Knight.